All right. Good evening. My name is Bridget Noring. I'm the founder of the Devin J. Noring Foundation. We, along with Our Savior's Lutheran Church, welcome you to our Comeback Home event. We want to thank the Confluence Hotel tonight for once again supporting us and opening up their doors to help raise awareness in our small town. Thank you to all of our resource colleagues who are here tonight. If you haven't had time to see them, please stop by and see them. They are amazing and they bring a vast amount of knowledge to our town. Tonight we gather with a shared purpose to shine a light on the devastating impact of illicit fentanyl and to foster dialogue that will lead to a meaningful action in our communities. I want to extend our special thank you to our, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, sorry, young adult guest panel, Natalia, Sophia, Caden. I don't see Noah or Dawson yet. Okay, we're gonna sub in Haley and Bob. You guys, your presence here tonight is a testament to the importance of engaging our young people in conversations about the fentanyl crisis. In this fight for awareness, your voices carry weight, your perspectives shape our strategies, and your actions inspire change. Your insights and perspectives are invaluable as we work together to tackle this critical issue. Tonight we want to recognize our Hastings Mayor Mary. She's in the house. Thank you for your continued support. We also have Senator Seeberger here tonight with us. We thank you for being here. All of our representatives, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Representative Angie Craig, Senator Seeberger, Representative Hudella, Representative Baker's here tonight. You all have been champions in this fight to save lives. Your commitment to addressing the opioid crisis and supporting initiatives aimed at preventing further loss of life is commendable. I want to express our gratitude to our law enforcement officials and first responders who are on the front lines of the battle against fentanyl every day. Your dedication to keeping our communities safe is truly commendable. To those who go out there every day, raising awareness, educating our communities, those who are boots on the ground, meeting people where they're at and helping them pave their road to recovery, we support you and we thank you. Fentanyl is a powerful and highly addictive synthetic opioid that has claimed far too many lives in recent years. Our town has lost a lot of really good kids and adults alike. Its potency makes it especially dangerous, and even a small amount can be lethal. But beyond statistics, we must remember that every single one of those are an individual life lost, and they are irreplaceable. Come Back Home is a film by Dominic Tierno and Christine Wood. It delves into the lives of the young people from their perspective of loss. We thank the Alexander Neville Foundation for bringing the young adults together to create this impactful youth prevention film. And I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Jim from our Hastings PD Fire and Dakota County Chaplain.
Come here.
Okay. Thank you.
We're all here to support and comfort one another. It's devastating when we see any life taken, especially through drugs or alcohol. And so we're here to go to God, just ask God for help. And sometimes I know we can get mad at God and just go, God, why does this happen? I want to assure you that God doesn't want these things to happen. But we need his help, and we need all these vendors, all the law enforcement, all those who help. And we all need to listen and then be that voice to someone else, to warn them and to stand in the way to help them so we can prevent somebody from taking their life. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, your word tells us to bear one another's burdens. Lord, tonight this is what this is. We're here today to help one another, to comfort one another. This is so hard and so difficult. We pray for every family, every brother, sister, mom, dad, grandparents. Lord, we just pray that you just help us learn to comfort one another, help one another, and be that voice to make a difference in someone's life, that we don't see this happen to someone else. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
All right, we are going to start the film, and then we'll follow that with our youth panel with a Q&A. So,
The Orange County Sheriff's Department is attempting to identify a male that was last seen on a security camera at the Metrolink station. If you have any information regarding...
My name is Yareni Pelayo. I was 18 years old when I lost my brother to fentanyl poisoning. Dennis was just the most generous, compassionate, outgoing person like you would ever meet. He was just full of light and amazing. But my brother was struggling with depression, anxiety, ADHD. And when you struggle, the pressure gets to you, and there's stuff that you could get to take off that pressure, to take off whatever pain you're feeling. My brother couldn't stop, and that led to worse stuff. We always thought he was getting better. He would have times of recovery, but unfortunately he would fall back down again. And one day he was trying to get home. He left this one outreach program in Santa Ana. He bought a bus ticket. He stumbled upon the wrong person. This person sold him something. He took it, and he passed away alone in the hospital. We didn't know anything. One day my mom was scrolling through Facebook, and she saw a post.
I saw my mom crying, and I didn't know what happened. My dad went into my room to talk to my sister. Then I heard the news.
And it was my brother. He passed away December 1st, 2021. We didn't find out until the 10th. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to. I had never lost anyone, and I never expected the first person that I lose would be my brother. I thought I would have him for my whole life, and sometimes just thinking about it, you can't really process the fact that they're gone, that you're never gonna see them again.
22-year-old Sierra Gilliam died of an accidental fentanyl overdose.
She died after taking a pill she thought was Xanax, but turned out to be laced with fentanyl. The lawsuit filed by her family and others says Snapchat's parent company, proximately caused her death.
My name is Jay Leeson. At the age of 13, I lost my sister to fentanyl poisoning. She was just overall a nice person, really loving and caring. She did take Xanax for her anxiety and depression and for her to go to sleep. She bought it off of Snapchat.
Her family says she developed a compulsion to engage with Snapchat at all hours, and she began purchasing Xanax through Snapchat to help her sleep.
From one of her friends. He didn't specify what was in it. He just sold her Xanax.
They say Snapchat's features facilitate illegal and deadly drug sales of counterfeit pills.
We were trying to reach out to see her. We couldn't get her on the phone. We thought maybe she had went out with a couple of friends until my grandma and grandpa decided to and go to her house and knock on the door. They knocked, no response. So they went over to her bedroom window. They climbed through the window and saw Sierra on the floor, her face in her laundry. We drove immediately down there after we found out that she had passed away. And when we had got there, they had told my mom that she had been killed by fentanyl poisoning.
Hi, my name is Eda Neville. At 12 years old, I lost my brother Alexander to fentanyl poisoning. Alex was a very intelligent person, and he loved to learn new things. He also was suffering mentally and emotionally. He had not too long before been diagnosed with ADD, and he needed something to help him calm down. When Alex was experimenting with pills, what he thought was oxycodone, he went and learned all about oxycodone and how much he should be taking as if it was the pharmaceutical prescription oxycodone. That night when he went in his room to go to bed, he took one pill and then he didn't even make it in bed. My mom found him the next morning on his beanbag. One thing I do remember is in the middle of the night, I woke up to go to the bathroom and my room was right next to his, so I passed it. Walking by, I heard this very labored breathing and I was really concerned, so I wanted to go check on him to see if he was all right, but I was worried that he would be awake and fine and he'd yell at me for going in his room. So I just went back to sleep. That breathing, that was the fentanyl taking effect on his body. And so what I heard was him dying.
My name is Michael Gray. I lost my sister at 23 to fentanyl poisoning. She was dealing with life stresses. It overwhelmed her and turned to drugs, unfortunately. When she had overdosed, my nephew was one of the people to see her first, and she was in her house. Most people, you expect them to be in some dangerous area or doing some shady stuff, but she was just in her house and thought she was just as safe as anybody else. I was still finishing up my last semester at college down in Virginia, and she was in Maryland. So it was kind of hard for me to get the news that she had been taken to ICU, and hour by hour it just progressed into something more. I had to drive up the road to see her. Before I made it up the road, she had passed. It shocked me even more when I couldn't make it up there and see her in her last moments. My desire was to just hold her hand, even if she was passing. And I think about her in small instances. With my graduation, I have a child of my own, so I have trouble planning birthday parties and different things like that, and she was amazing at those. So having to think about things like that and be like, dang, she would be the perfect person to talk to. She would be the perfect person to rely on. I learned how to live life from her. I learned just how to become a good person and how to do good things. And I mean, even my car, she helped me with the down payment, so it's like a remembrance every time I get in my car. And I can't even drive down the highway the same anymore. just because it's thoughts of me racing up the road but not getting there in time.
Aida, come here.
Hi, my name is Aida. At the age of 15, I lost my brother Kinthi to fentanyl poisoning. He's such a cool guy. He was like the coolest person. And so like everyone would like want to be his friend. And during COVID, he like missed being around his friends a lot. Since he couldn't see them, he was just like very depressed. He's always struggled with like anxiety too. I think he just wanted to like take a pill, just take the edge off. I think also he was afraid to ask our mom if he could get prescribed Xanax from an actual doctor, so he got it from the streets, just like some random person he doesn't know. He never took pills before, but he got it from Snapchat and he thought it was Xanax. I was living in South Carolina when it happened. He was living in California, and he was living alone at the time. Right after it happened, me and my mom flew the day after, and we had a service for him. When my mom told me the news, everything else in my life like didn't matter.
I'm Caden Noring, and I live in Hastings, Minnesota. Right here in Hastings, Snapchat and other social media apps are being used to buy and sell illegal drugs, many of which are made with illicit fentanyl. How do I know this? That's how I lost my big brother Devin on April 4th, 2020. One pill can kill.
My name is Caden Noring. I am 17. I lost my brother to fentanyl poisoning when I was 15. He was very positive, very kind, uplifting. He was always there for me. Kind of sucks not having the person that was always there for you just not be there for you anymore. It's very easy to get your hands on illicit drugs and experiment with them. He got sold a fake pill. It was made out of fentanyl. He was just trying to get a Percocet to take away the pain that he was having with his wisdom teeth. The night before, he was snoring really loudly, and it was something that's not normal for my brother to do. I was kind of confused. I even questioned his friend about it. He was like, "Oh no, it's okay." You know, he just kind of brushed it off. I figured like I could trust this guy. He's been in my house hundreds of times over. The next day, I went to go wake up my brother, and when I went to go open the door, I was already confused, because usually my brother answers the door. He'll just come and unlock it and open it. So when I had to get a credit card and unlock his door, I already knew something was wrong. His friend was not there. He was gone, and that's when I found him. My life will never be the same ever again. It really won't.
She's not coming back. I see these and I can hear what she would have been saying, or I remember how we felt on that day, what we were doing.
We just make sure that we do the best that we can for Daniel.
My name's Daniel. I lost my mom when I was 7 to fentanyl. It happened so long ago that I don't have too many memories of her. Before she passed, I was still barely with her. I was mostly with my grandma because she used to drink a lot. I was at my grandma's with my dad, and my other grandparents came and they told me that it happened. I didn't know how to react to it because that was like the first person I can actually remember dying. It was just her and her boyfriend, and then he ran and got it at a Burger King, and they came back and they split one pill.
911, this is Mary. What's the address of your emergency?
I don't know. I'm at my friend's house, and I came over here to see, check on this lady, and I think she's dead.
They thought it was like a painkiller.
Okay, do you know how old she is? She's around 30-something years old. Okay. Are you right by her now?
I am. We're doing CPR.
You're doing CPR? Okay.
Female, approximately 30 years of age, unconscious, not breathing. CPR is in progress. Swift response, non-person in and out.
But they split a fentanyl pill.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Do you have help there with you?
Yeah, they're here.
It killed her. They got there on time to get the Narcan to get him up, and not too long after that, he killed himself because of suicide, because he thought it was his fault.
There is no experimental phase anymore because you can die just from the first ever time you try something. Alex only experimented for a week before he passed away, and there's people who have passed in even less time.
You could be anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as you're experimenting or trying it, it could happen to you.
It's not even worth it to experiment anymore. Those few hours, minutes, seconds of relief, of enjoyment, as many people say, it's not worth taking that risk. You're taking a huge chance for something so small.
That's basically like gambling with your life if you're gonna try it, because you can't trust people that you don't know. You can't take anything from people that you don't know. Even people you trust could probably give you something like that. Even if you find it like suspicious, or even if you don't, just don't take the drugs.
The drug dealers are not your friends. They'll tell you it's legit. You can ask if it has fentanyl in it. They'll say no because they're lying. They just want you to buy it. If it's not from a pharmacy, it's fake. Death can happen really fast. It can be a few minutes to half an hour. Even if you have Narcan, sometimes it takes a lot to revive them. Even then, they could still suffer permanent damage if they survive. Some people, they're in the hospital on machines. Some people, they get brain damage. It's not worth it.
I'd probably say to parents, talk to your kids about the effects of these drugs and look at like the statistics of fentanyl poisoning. Do your research. This is like a real thing, and like they don't really realize how big of a deal it is. They might not know that the fentanyl is in the pill, and that like just a little tiny amount can kill you.
Don't do it. Don't do any type of drug, and try to lean towards more natural practices. Talking to people if you feel sad, talking to people if you're angry, expressing yourself through your words so your emotions don't feel trapped in your heart and you have to deal with those through drugs. I think everybody is going to make their own decisions and try to experience life, but if you can do it in the safest way possible around the people that you love, then I feel like you have a stronger chance.
If you're struggling at all, if you have any sort of pain, please reach out. Don't just deal with it, don't bottle it up. There's people who can help you. There definitely is.
If you're feeling anxious and you're struggling with depression, you're feeling like really lonely, it's always better to just find like a support group in like your community. Instead of going to drugs, I would have wanted him to reach out to someone like me or our mom, his friends. Just talk it out. Resorting to drugs is never a good option.
Definitely do what makes you happy instead of turning to drugs. Try to look for something that won't hurt you, you know that you like. If I'm ever thinking about how Sierra is gone, I will go outside, just pick up a basketball, make a couple of free throws, and enjoy my time outside. Just doing that can help me with my pain.
I don't want anybody else to go through the situation I'm in or the pain, people are just gonna think it's a joke. They think it won't happen to them. Then when it does happen to them, they wonder why no one did anything. They only listen to what they want to hear. But you still have the chance to not have this happen to you.
My parents tried to stop it.
Alex was a very curious kid, was interested in oxycodone. It was on Snapchat that he set up a deal to get pills. All those kids you see right there all lost their life through a counterfeit pill purchase on Snapchat. We thought we knew about the drug crisis. We educated Alexander, we educated ourselves. We did the things, we spot checked the social media. We had these conversations, and it still got in.
Alex confessed that he had been experimenting with oxycodone, and it had a hold on him, and he didn't know why. They had called a treatment facility, and they were gonna try to get him into rehab. Literally a few minutes after we came to the hospital, when my mom found him, the treatment facility had called saying they had an open bed. My parents, they didn't know about fentanyl, and neither did Alex. Drug use and mental health, that can happen anywhere. The denial saying that my kids don't have a drug problem, my community doesn't, that adds to the stigma. Losing Alex, it's definitely hit all of us mentally pretty hard. The house is a lot more quiet. Because of my grief, it made it a lot harder to go through my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Love you. I do think about what if I just went in his room and found him. It's possible that we could have gotten him help. Sometimes in the quiet hours, I just hear the sound of his breathing replaying in my head.
It devastated my family. There's something about losing someone that's so dear to you and important to you and that you look up to, and like that's your role model. Losing him, you'll never be the same.
At home, it's very quiet. He would like run down the stairs so loudly. So my mom's like, oh, it's so quiet now. I miss growing up with him. A part of my past has a hole in it. A part of my future also has a hole in it because I always thought he would be there in the future, but now he's not, and I have to like just live with that.
As far as my father, it was heartbreaking for him to deal with that kind of loss, and seeing my mother hurt, seeing my brother hurt, seeing everybody in pain. I felt like it was responsible for me to be there for my parents and my brother, and just making sure that emotionally they're okay. Because physically, anybody can appear okay. Anybody can just go about their day like nothing's going on, but be dealing with demons all the time. I think it's important to not only have a shoulder to lean on, but give a shoulder.
You just grow up with someone and you think you're gonna have them for your whole life. And a little pill just takes them away, and you lose everything. You lose your sense of direction. Your mom is never the same after. It's like a part of her went with him. It's a horrible feeling because you're never gonna have your brother back. You're never gonna have who your mom used to be. I hold on. I hold on to this thought that he's still in the outreach program, and one day he's gonna call me or he's gonna come home like he always does. And he's not coming home.
Where am I going? From here I don't know. I need direction. Show me where to go. Gotta get back where I started. Without you all I see is darkness. these hardships. I'm coming back home to your heart, yeah. I'm coming back home to your heart. I'm coming back home to your heart. I'm coming back home to your heart. I'm coming back home where I started.
Those kids did a really amazing job, and we got to spend a couple days in California with them, and they were just so inspiring. And to see them connect with one another, similar to how families like ours, when we go through this, have connected with others, was just so amazing, and to have that support. So at this time, I'm going to call our young adults to the panel. Chloe, you're going to have to step off, ma'am. And then Teresa Chattel, she is our moderator tonight. Let's give her a big round of applause. She is the new director for the United Way of Hastings, so we're super, super happy for you in your new position. You're going to be amazing at it, I know it.
Thanks, yep. And I want to thank all the youth for coming tonight, because that's really awesome to see all of you in the room tonight. It's really important that you're here. Chair over there. I didn't. Couple more coming up. All right, so we have a few questions that we had. A couple came from the audience, and a couple here we had already prepared. So any of you can answer this if you want to. What do you want adults to know about the challenges teens are facing? Any of you can answer, all of you, whatever, whoever can think of something. Yeah, what do you guys think is challenging about being a teen today? I'll give you, I'll need a mic here.
That's a hard question. I'd say like not much to do around this, like the city, I'd say. Like there's no, like, I don't know, like bowling ring or like, I don't know, some place for kids to kind of go to like just kind of have fun, like be outside of, like, I don't know how to explain it really, but just not experiment with drugs and stuff like that.
Like skate park maybe or
Hmm?
Bored with your own thoughts.
Oh yeah, and like bored with your own thoughts and stuff and all that. So.
Well, I guess I'm not really a teenager anymore, but I remember when I was one. It can be rough. Going through high school, your friend groups are kind of everything to you, and if you fall out of those, I think it can be kind of detrimental to, your thoughts and actions and kind of how you go through that and handle that, because you're really not prepared sometimes for these situations until they happen, and you get caught up in your own thoughts, and it might lead you to doing things you may one day regret. And I think reaching out, especially when you think you're having those feelings, I think I would want you to be unapologetically needy with me so that I know that I can help you, because I know something's going on with you, versus not knowing entirely and you doing something that you may regret and that I have to kind of deal with for the rest of my life, So I think that's what I think about that. You guys want to have something? Sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I know that a lot of kids struggle with friendships and family issues, and there's a lot of stress academic-wise, like with a lot of schoolwork, and definitely social media and friend groups.
And I have to agree with that. I think a lot of that's specific, at least to my generation, is the social media. It just, a lot of times, like even when I'm scrolling on there, I'm feeling in a depressed mood, and then I see more depressing content, and it just goes and it reaffirms what I'm feeling, and then I start to like put that in and piece that together as part of my identity. And I have to agree with what the other three are saying. A lot of it is people feel stuck and they're bored with their own thoughts, and it's just, right now it's kind of an unstable world. There's a lot of conflict everywhere, and seeing that and dealing with that. Yeah, COVID for sure had enormous effects on people my age, and it still continues to have effects.
Yeah, social media, that is, I wish it would go away. So another question, how has the fentanyl crisis impacted you, your family, and your friends? We'll start with that. It's a two-part question, but we'll start there.
Oh boy. How has it impacted me? I think the biggest impact that it's had on me is it took our brother away. And not even just that. I have 2 kids now, so he would have been an uncle to 2 kids. So them not ever getting a chance to speak to him, let alone know his personality and who he was really huge for me. Victor?
I'd like to say that the biggest impact is like what it does to the people around you, like all your friends, all your family, and just kind of, especially family. Family gets really hurt over it, and there's not much you can really do because you can't just like bring them back or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I definitely would say family gets impacted pretty hard.
I agree with the family part. I know that this hit my family really hard. I lost my 15-year-old sister to fentanyl poisoning, and we grew up doing everything together. We were best friends. She was my partner in crime, and she was more than that. She was a best friend, a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister. And it feels like I didn't just lose her, I lost a part of me, and I'm never gonna, it changed my life completely, and it's difficult knowing that I'm not going to be able to grow up with her, and she had a lot of plans for the future, and she's never going to be able to accomplish any of that.
The biggest impact it's had on me, I lost my friend Anastasia, Natalia's sister. We had been friends for over 10 years. Sorry, my God. I would say the hardest thing is it really, oh my God, I thought I was able to do this, sorry. It really isolated me from my family, because a lot of them didn't understand what it felt like. And I know it had isolated Natalia's family from a lot of their connections too. So I think, thank you. I think in general it's just it isolates you because you can't really explain how, you can't really make someone understand how it's impacting.
How have people reacted to your guys' stories, like friends, family, other people in the community? What's the reaction when they hear?
I think initially everyone's kind of, been pretty sincere about it. They don't truly understand kind of how it feels to lose someone that close to you unless it actually does happen to you. So, I mean, the apologies, in the sincerest regards are always really nice to hear. But there's also kind of, sometimes when you're talking to people, especially if it's, kind of outside your group, a little bit of skepticism kind of behind their eyes, I think everyone, kind of has that stigma around drugs and using or, whatever the term may be. There's always going to be a little bit of skepticism there. And a lot of times I think they think it defines the person that was lost, and it truly doesn't. It truly doesn't. I'm kind of going off train of thought there.
Sorry, what was the question?
I know. I started rambling.
How have people reacted to hearing your family's story?
Yeah, I would say it's always pretty much sympathetic. Like, no matter what the situation, they're always going to give you sympathy. But that at the end of the day, that person has their own life, and I don't really know.
They're never going to truly understand.
Yeah, they're never going to truly, fully understand what it's like to lose someone super close to them. So, yeah.
I agree with what Haley said, but I know that in my experience, people have been pretty sympathetic and understanding.
Yeah, a lot of sympathy that was felt. For me, I also had some kind of weird interactions. Some people would kind of look at it like a taboo. They'd be like, oh, well, she died from this, and it's kind of disappointing because you don't want to see people building a stigma or associating that person with just, how they died. She was a real person. Overall, it's been a lot of positive responses, but also it just has made me realize that we don't, as a society as a whole, we kind of just have our own thoughts about it, and most of them are very ignorant thoughts. We don't really know how it works, and we don't really think about the larger impact that fentanyl has had, and we kind of look at it like a one-off, it's only this group of people. That's never going to be my family.
Okay, so this one is specifically for Kaden. What was your experience filming Come Back Home?
But like filming and coming back home?
What was it like filming that out there?
Time consuming, kind of stressful, I guess. I don't know. The guy tried to get me to cry during the video. Couldn't do it. Couldn't break me. But yeah. I had a really good time out there though, meeting all those people and hearing their stories and sharing my story with them.
Unfortunately, having something in common.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty good overall, meeting all those people. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
That was just for you. Okay, here's another one for all of you. What do you hope teens will take away from watching this film?
I think the biggest takeaway, especially when I watch it, and I tell the high school students the same thing when I come and speak to them, is really kind of hold your family close. You watch this and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to go hug my brother. Even with Kaden 12 inches from me, it feels like a big gap right here because the middle child is missing. So I think if there's anything you can take away from this, even if you are using or thinking about using, is think about your family and kind of who's going to be left to clean up the pieces. If for whatever reason, fate just decides that you're done. Because it's not something I think I'd ever want to live all over again. I hope in my next life we're all together.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, just think about whoever loves you the most, or if you have any loved ones, and think about what it might do to them, how much it might hurt them. And even if, like, you are struggling or really depressed, there's places you can go, people you can talk to for that. And I'd say, I don't know, just be careful. I don't know.
I would probably say hold your loved ones close to you and never stop reaching out for help.
Definitely reach out for help. I hope that people can take away that you do have a choice. You can take back your life. You don't have to feel backed into a corner or feel like the only thing you can do is turn to drugs or that you're all alone, because there is somebody out there. Maybe you don't know them yet, but there's someone out there who's going to listen to you and they're going to love you.
So with that last answer, a lot of you answered this next question. It was any advice for teens that are struggling, whether it be with grief, anxiety, or substance misuse? So I'm going to ask you guys the second part of the question then. What do you think are healthier alternatives that kids could do instead of turning to drugs? Are you ready?
I don't know. I would say literally anything. Literally anything. Pick up a cookbook, some art supplies. Really find something that keeps you busy, you know, because
Boarding.
I mean, people have their own personal things they like to do, your own personal hobbies. I think that's going to be major. And if you can find a circle of friends that likes to, you know, if you join a boarding group, then you have a boarding group and you have people that you can share connections with and kind of, you know, keeps your mind busy, you know, even if it's going to work, if you're a workaholic like I am. Sometimes going to work is, you know, therapeutic because it really takes your mind off of some of the things that, you know, might be trying to creep their way in and you don't want to think about. I think, that just about sums it up for me.
Yeah, I would definitely say find like some sort of hobby. Like for me, I board around everywhere. I love boarding. It's a natural high. It's, I don't know, a lot better than any other drug you could do. I don't know, yeah, make friends. Literally anything, like she said, is better than experimenting or doing drugs. And yeah, I'd say just find a hobby, something that you love.
A safe hobby.
Yeah, safe hobby.
I agree, and I would also advise you not to isolate yourself and to hobbies are good. And I know for me, I love baking, I love cooking, and sometimes I try to multitask to keep my mind busy and off of other things. Sometimes I bake and put on a show in the background and listen to music all at the same time.
Definitely true. Do a hobby. I love her baking. I'm glad she's picked that up. I've benefited from that a lot. Do something, anything. Don't isolate yourself. The biggest thing I think that people struggle with is they're not wanting to be a burden. You're not a burden. Talk, even if it's at the wall, write it in a journal, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, talk to a teacher. God knows how many teachers have listened to me rant, and I've talked their ear off a million times, and they sit there and they tell me, it's gonna be okay. Talking. I do sports, I try to work out, that way I'm expressing myself. As long as you're expressing yourself, and you're not bottling up, you're doing yourself a lot of benefits there.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Like, even going outside and just, I don't know, like getting a natural, like fresh breath of air, or just, walking around the falls, or I don't know, it's really like peaceful and can take your mind away from all of it. So I'd say like just maybe like get some fresh air, go outside, find something to do. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple more questions here. What motivates all of you to advocate and be voices for an awareness for this crisis?
I think this is easy for me, my kids. I didn't know it until I had them. I just want to create a better world than that I'm dealing with right now. I hope they'll never have to know what it's like to lose a sibling. And I only had 2 of them, so I can only imagine how lost I would be if I was alone. So yeah, I think my kids are kind of my biggest motivators right now. Just, they're so innocent. And you just want the best for, those that are around you and those that you love. And I know Devin would want the same for us, even though he's not here.
Yeah, I would definitely say like family, friends. They're kind of my big motivators. I usually reach out to them and talk to them. And even my girlfriend and her mom, they're very helpful. They give me, I don't know, just the confidence I need every day to like, I don't know, even get through the day, be happy. But yeah.
For me, it's definitely my younger brother and my close friends and family and younger siblings of my close friends. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, and I know there are a lot of kids that, like my sister, who are struggling and are either afraid or don't know where to reach out for help.
I'm motivated by my younger sibling, for sure. And my nephews, as crazy as they are, I don't want any kid, or I don't want my younger siblings to feel the same thing. And then, as well as Natalia's family, just for being there, cooking me so many meals and letting me sleep over all the time and helping me with my homework. Everyone who's done everything in my life, they motivate me to do better and to hopefully make a better world.
Okay, this one was a written question from someone out in the audience. How do you think we can educate more people on this subject?
Yeah, I would say the schools are going to be the first step. I've had the pleasure of coming to Ms. Moss's health students a few times the past couple years, and I think it really helps. I know it helps when they see me and Caden. Because, we were there at one point a lot closer than I think an adult was. So I think getting that education, in our education systems is going to be huge. It gets kids talking more, gets them wondering. I always said knowledge was power. Like I said in my first question, be unapologetically needy. You need information. I want to give it to you, and that's the only place I'm going to get to you is when you're at school. So you kind of have to listen to me, but I like to think that they liked to listen to me. I got lots of really good questions, when I was there. Those students were super respectful. I would totally go back every single time if Miss Moss asked me to.
Yeah, I would definitely say like schools, just teaching like about like the fentanyl crisis, or even using like police body cam footage, because there are some officers that have like caught in a whiff of it just by being around it and have like collapsed on the floor, like, and they've had to have their partners help them. So it's definitely no joke how strong it is. And yeah, I think schools are the best way to like kind of teach, and using those body cam footages would be very helpful too.
Definitely schools, I agree.
Um, Schools for sure, talking with students, but I think for parents too, it has to start in your own home. You have to have conversations about this with your kids. It is helpful to have a bond with your kids, to have a bond with your siblings, and be transparent with each other, and to ask questions. It's really hard for kids to take what they learned at school about this and just apply it all the time if it's not being backed up in your own home, especially to school people. And she can only visit your school so many times, so it's really good to just work on it in your own home too.
This is off the same card. I don't know if the kids probably can answer this, but maybe someone else in the room can answer it. It is, what are the current numbers in Minnesota of fentanyl deaths? Does anybody have a rough number of that in the room?
We have many.
Yeah, I agree.
Good answer.
Yeah. 1,400, Bridget? Yep, and Bridget's saying 70% were fentanyl related in the 1,400. 4 Minnesotans a day is what Bridget is saying, so she's the expert, unfortunately. Yeah. We have one more question for you guys on here. What is one thing you want people to know about your loved one or friends who have passed away from fentanyl poisoning? You can say more than one.
More than one?
If you want.
I could sit here and all day and talk about him, honestly. I mean, he was a person. He had his own thoughts, his own quirks, his memories that we've built on. I think knowing anything about him is a true treasure than not knowing anything about him, if that makes any sense. He was kind of the quieter kid, honestly, which they always say, yeah, he was very protective, even though he was quieter. He spoke up when he felt it was needed, when someone else needed it.
He helped an old dude across the street.
Yeah, he helped an old man across the street. I mean, that's just his personality. And I could sit here all day and talk about what a wonderful soul he was. It doesn't feel the same without him. And the impact of not having his whole embodiment with us is just far too great to comprehend some days. I think, yeah, I'd want people to know that he was truly a person, not just, another story or another number. He was family. He was our blood, I don't know. I'm just going to start rambling, so I'm going to hand this over.
I mean, I definitely agree. I wouldn't want people to just think like, I don't know, my brother was some junkie or druggie, because it's definitely not what he was. He was much more than that. It's just really bad. Like, I don't know how to really word it. Like, I just want people to really know that, like, he was a person too, and like he had thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Just as much as we loved him.
Yeah. pretty much.
Anastasia is my best friend and my only sister, and she was a truth teller. She wouldn't lie. She would always be honest. She would say it like it is, and even if it hurts feelings, but her intentions were always good. And she would always stand up for her loved ones, for people she cared about. She was an empath and she was a caretaker. She always put others before herself, even if she wasn't doing okay. And a lot of times that would backfire and end up in her being taken advantage of. But she was good at literally everything she did. She could sing, she could ski, she could draw, she could bake, she was just good at everything. She played the flute, she played drums, she played the piano, and she had a beautiful voice. And she loved horses, she loved her family, she loved her siblings, and she really, really cared about people.
She was a really good friend. Oh my God, she was an amazing friend. We did almost everything together. We trapped bugs in their backyard and put them through weird obstacle courses, and we made juice from grapes that we weren't supposed to be picking, and we ran through neighbors' yards we weren't supposed to be running through, and she was super curious. She loved her sister so much. She loved her brothers so much. She always gave bits of herself to everybody. She used to write us all letters. Occasionally I still find them in little spots in my house.
I mean, I was gonna add one more thing. I mean, Devin even was really good at music. He loved his music, and I don't know, it's just weird. I don't have my big shield anymore, so to speak, because he was very protective, and I don't know. That's about it.
Well, thank you guys for being so honest, and we know it probably wasn't easy, but thank you so much for sharing your stories and your thoughts. It really does help put kind of feelings behind all this stuff going on, and we appreciate it.